Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Keeping It Real with Sue. I'm out here on a walk at one of my favorite parks in our area. We live in Washington State, and this park is about a mile from here. If you see those trees right back there, I live a mile over that hill, so I can walk to this park pretty easy. And in fact, last year there was a horrible fire here at this park, and we had alerts given to us that we might have to evacuate our home. I don't know if you see that pile of burnt branches there, but a bunch of trees burnt down. In fact, there's a dead tree right over there. And but the other day I was out here walking and I noticed they're starting to plant new trees. And if you know me and you're going to get to know me a little better, I love trees and I love flowers and plants. And so the other day I was out here and I noticed, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At least they've planted quite a few different kinds of trees here. And one of them is a pine tree. But as you can see, there is a weed right here. And I'm afraid, I don't know if that one's going to live. And then over here, I just absolutely love the color on this tree. And I'm sorry if it's windy, but it's just windy over here today. But if you can see the spruce tips on these, I just love that color of green. It's just so gorgeous. Fort Steilacoom is one of the oldest developed places in this area. This is Lakewood, but we're right next to Steilacoom, and it was built as a fort to protect the people in this area that were starting to come over in the 1800s. And I don't think we had any skirmishes here, but back then that was something that they did quite often. So if you see behind me, that's Lake Waha, and up on that hill is some of the buildings that were left from when that fort was built. And probably about a half a mile that way is more of the buildings. So, but if you, I don't know if you can see behind me too, back there is a college, and that's Pierce College, one of our little community colleges here in our area. So, I love walking these trails. And the fun thing about this park is it's very diverse. But to be honest with you, I didn't even know this park existed. I've lived in Lakewood, this area, for probably close to 50 plus years. No, 40 plus years. Anyways, it doesn't matter. A long time. And I never knew some of these trails existed until I started going for walks with different friends. And one of my friends I used to go for a walk with, her name was Connie. And Connie grew up in this area with her children. And she would bring her kids over here and they would go for walks. And Connie knew every trail that there was. And there is a lot of trails and a lot of roads that lead into this park from different neighborhoods, which is really fun. And so I'm going to take you down on one of my favorite trails to go down on. And then I started walking a while ago with a friend. Her name is Stacy. Stacy lived not too far from here too. And so she knew more of the trails. And I was like, oh my gosh, I had no idea these were here, because if you came to this park, you might only think there was like one really main area to walk. And it's a big giant loop around the lake. And it is a very nice walking place. As you'll see, people are walking all over the place. I think I've run into probably at least 20 people today. But if you go down this trail towards the lake, there is a beautiful paved area that is so nice. In fact, I used to push my son Luke in his wheelchair around it, and my mom is in a wheelchair now too. And so we've gone on many walks over there. This area here though is more gravel, and so you may even hear my feet on the rocks as I walk. But one of the neat thing about this trail here is it is absolutely positively gorgeous. And it's like walking into a little tunnel of green. One of the thoughts I had was, as I was walking this trail the other day, thinking, you get into habits. Have you guys ever gotten into a habit of just going to the same place and for probably 10 years. Like I said, I didn't know these trails existed, and I would just walk around the lake, which was really nice and nice to get outside, nice exercise. But then as my friends would start introducing me to these different places and I would walk down this trail, I realized there's a lot of little trails, and unless you're willing to go exploring, you'd never realize how beautiful some of these little trails are. As you walk up, there's one here that I'm going to go up just for a second and get off the main trail. But as you can see, this little trail is just a lot smaller, but it goes through old growth and lots of old trees. And so I love these older trees. Lots of ivy back here, but it's absolutely just a beautiful trail to walk on. And so, but unless you're willing to get off on the main trail, there's more walkers, you'll never know, never explore. So today, I just want to encourage people. Sometimes we get in a rut. I don't know if you've ever been in a rut before. I know I have. And sometimes it's so easy just to stay there. And I turned 60 just a little while ago and realized that the older you get sometimes, the easier it is to just stay where you're comfortable. And I want to say that it's not always good to stay where you're comfortable, because if you always stay where you're comfortable, you'll never learn or explore or get to see some of the more gorgeous places in this world. 2 years ago, we went on a trip across America, and for many years my husband would say, "Oh, let's just fly and we'll rent a car." And I was like, "No, I want to go on this trip." And I just wanted to show you this tree here. Look at the moss on the branches. Isn't that amazing? And this little branch right here is just so pretty. This trail is just gorgeous. But we decided to take a trip, and part of the reason why I started this channel too was Keeping It Real posts started on Facebook. And if you're my Facebook friends, you've been reading my Keeping It Real posts for a long time. In fact, before it was Keeping It Real on Facebook, it was howsluke.blogspot.com did a blog for 14 years, and it was the journey from my son Luke, who was 17 months old, had a drowning accident, and our lives were changed that day for a long time. And life with Luke was a lot of challenges, and so I would post Keeping It Real posts on Facebook, the real, the raw, the truth, just helping people to understand life with a person in your life that is a full-time 24/7 care. So anyways, we decided a couple years ago to take a trip, and for years we wondered if we could take Luke on that kind of a trip, because we were tied to doctor's appointments and hospital stays, but then we finally decided, no, let's just try it. So we did, and we drove all the way from Washington State to Maine, went to Acadia State Park there, lots of parks and places on the way there. And then we drove from Maine down to Florida, and then from Florida back home to Washington State. And it was really fun because I actually have 7 children, and my oldest son Daniel is married to Sarah, who lives in South Dakota. And then I have a daughter, Amy, and she's married to Lance, and she lives here in Lakewood, not too far from me. And then my daughter Natalie is married to Joshua, and they live in Missouri with their 4 kids. And then Isaiah and Zeke and Lily, and Ezekiel's married now too, and he has a child, Enoch, Lee's in him. So I've got people spread out. So it was kind of fun on that trip across America. We actually would meet different of our kids on that trip. So my daughter Natalie and her husband Joshua and their 4 kids met us in South Carolina for a week, and then Amy and Lance met us in Florida for a week, and then on the way home we went through Yellowstone, and we met our son Daniel and his wife Sarah and their 4 kids, and spent a few days going through Yellowstone. So it was just it was an epic trip. You know, it only happened because my husband, Gordy, has worked at REI for 34 years now, and he had a sabbatical. So we were able to take a sabbatical and go on this trip. And I'll probably be talking more about that trip because it was what you would call epic. 7 weeks on the road with, there was 6 of us at that time. Gordy and I, Isaiah, Ezekiel, Luke, and Lily, and traveling all the way, staying at different places, a lot of different nights, moving next day. And Luke was full-time care at that time. Our van was packed full of all of his supplies. He was on oxygen, had a concentrator and a wheelchair, lots and lots of supplies. So someday maybe I'll show you a picture of what our van looked like for that trip. And often I tell people, was it hard? Oh my goodness, it was so hard. But was it worth it? Yes, it was worth it. And it was a blessing. So that was one of those times where we had to get out of our comfort zone because we realized to take a trip like that would be a lot of planning and a lot of challenges, and yet so rewarding. So as I walk back to my car today and get on with a regular life, I'm packing to go tomorrow night with my daughter Amy and her daughter to Washington, D.C. for a Foursquare Church conference. So we'll be there for a week. Well, not even a week, 5 days, and looking forward to that. But I need to get home and start packing. I haven't started packing yet, and I leave tomorrow night. So anyways, I'll take you along on lots of walks on this Keeping It Real with Sue, and some days I'm hoping to spend some time in the kitchen with you. I love to bake and cook and share some of my favorite recipes with you, and then do some day in the life. You know, since I did a blog for 14 years, I thought a vlog shouldn't be so hard. We'll see how it goes. Well, I hope you keep it real with me, and let me know where an area of your life is that you've gotten out of your comfort zone, and let me know how hard it was for you or how amazing it was and how it changed your life maybe. Just like this park has really opened up for me because I got out of my comfort zone and started going on some of these side trails instead of just going on the main trail the whole time. So God bless y'all, and keep it real with me. We'll check in with you again soon. Bye-bye.